What is going on, YouTube? PPS back here with my guy Monotone Football back here for a little all sports action. We're going to be going with some Masters looks. That's going to be all you. Be looking at some baseball futures, some future props in there as well, future rewards that I like for this year. But yeah, how have things been, Monotone? I know NBA is kind of weird right now, but yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, no, I've been doing really well recently. I know a lot of people are kind of checked out of NBA, but it's annoying. And if you're not in a legal state, it kind of sucks. But I've been pretty much only betting like first quarter props and stuff like that to avoid blowout, which on DraftKings and apparently it's on MGM too, which is pretty cool. But I mean, like, to be honest, I don't want to rant about it too much. I've been trying to spread the gospel recently, but I do think those first quarter props are like, maybe since I started NBA last year, I think they're easily the best value I've seen in NBA ever. You know what I mean? Like they're not right. They're just wrong all the time. So I've been crushing it on those first quarter with NBA. So that's really been what I've been focused on. But obviously it's 2:00 right now. They don't put those out a little bit later. So we're going old school today, talking baseball. Got my Nats hat right here. Got to rep the team. So I'm excited. I mean, it's a great week for sports. Opening day, Masters. It's a fucking great week.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm ready to finally retire this one and move it to the Brewers. It's getting to that part of the season. Very, very excited, obviously, for baseball season to come back around. Yeah, NBA has been okay, man. It's just been weird. You get a lot of value plays, though. Like last night I had Jackson Hayes double-double. Like it was plus 700.
Nice.
It was plus 700, but it's like, how do you give me that? Jonas gets ruled out super late, and then you can use those to your advantage. But a lot of them are not helping you. Or I had Davion Mitchell PRA last night, 27.5, and they come out with that news. And then I ended up grabbing it again at 23.5. And then obviously trying to do more on the 23.5 because, like, obviously he's got enough usage. And then all of a sudden he plays 40 minutes. So it's like, how do you say that you're not going to use him and then you play him 40 minutes? Like, obviously that one helped me out. But imagine being a guy who sees that and hammers the under because why wouldn't you? You know, so it's just a weird spot right now in NBA where we're getting some pretty good spots here on some futures markets. I know you're into some golf action that I'll be tailing. And yeah, we might as well just get right into it and have you drop us some knowledge there. We got Uncouth in here, hopping in here. Obviously, been following your little run recently over there. And James is in the chat. Steve's the guy who hammered that under. Yeah, it went down to 23.5. Like, and he had like, I think 14 assists yesterday.
Yeah.
And only like 15 points. So it's like, that's not a bad bet. Like, that's a good bet reading into it. But I'm like, all right, I'm already in, like I'm already in there. Might as well just sprinkle a little bit. If I'm ready to be screwed on 27.5, might as well. And the dude drops 40 minutes. Like, who lies like that? That is the biggest lie ever. And that just wraps up like what this end of the season is like. Obviously, you got to play the guys that are getting the minutes, obviously, and have something to fight for.
100%.
But we will go to yours first. We'll kind of go one of yours. I have 2 strikeout future leaders. That's what I'll be going with. And then a wins total. I believe you got a top 10, top 40 for this Masters, and then obviously a winner. So we'll start out with you, rolling with obviously the number 1 guy in the world here.
Yeah, so John Rahm, top 10. I don't want to spend too long on this one. Just for the people that do know golf, John Rahm is the best player in the world, like you just said. He hasn't been quite on these last couple weeks, though. If he wasn't like 9-1, 10-1, I'd almost kind of want to bet him to win. Pretty much all he's done over these last couple weeks is consistently, I mean, every single week, lead the field in almost every statistical category except putting. His putter's just been off. But for most people that know golf and for the people that don't, that's the most inconsistent kind of variable there is, right? A guy like Hideki Matsuyama, who won last year, is one of the worst putters on tour. And before he won that, I mean, he won at such low ownership, right? Nobody was playing him on DraftKings. Nobody was betting him. He was in terrible form, terrible putter, but he figured it out. That's kind of the sport golf is. But Rahm, I'm not sure if he's going to win this week. It's a tough crowd, right? It's the hardest crowd of the year, hardest field of the year. But he's just so consistently lined up these top 10s that seeing a top 10 at the, greatest field. I mean, this, like, I don't know how to describe this for people, but like, this is like the Super Bowl, right? I mean, for people that don't know golf, this is opening day, Super Bowl, all that stuff. Rahm is the number one player in the world right now. Everything is kind of running except for the putter, and he's just not super popular this week. A lot of people are going to Justin Thomas, guys like that. I think Rahm, even if he doesn't win, this guy has a talent and just under the radar T9 finish, T8 finish. He's just always in contention no matter what because he's the best golfer in the world. So getting this at plus money, I think it's great value. I think Rahm, finishes in the top 10. And I also think there's a good chance that just like Dustin Johnson did when he was the world number one 2 years ago, he just demolishes everyone this week. It's not likely, but Rahm is one of those players that he can go out there, the best field in the world. Tiger Woods is back, all that stuff, and Rahm wins by 5 strokes. I mean, he's that good. So to get a top 10 at plus money, I didn't even have to think about it. You know what I mean? Just jump right on it. I see someone said plus 120 on DraftKings too. The one I got pays out ties, and DraftKings doesn't pay out ties, which means they kind of cut your winnings in half if he ties. But I definitely like the plus 120 also.
Okay, yeah, so they do that little tricky stuff on you for the tie ones. I hate that when books do that, right? When they do like the draws or whatever like that, where it just takes off some money. But yeah, it's tough to go against the number one guy, man. I mean, I don't watch golf. I watch golf now that I've been playing a little bit of DFS just for shits and giggles. Obviously, pretty much just donating. But sometimes I'll hit like a head-to-head and beat somebody. But more or less following guys like you who know what you're talking about, and I just kind of follow along on those for some DraftKings ones. So maybe Rahm is that play that not many people are going to go to this week because he's probably super, super expensive, but probably worth it, right, as the number one guy out there. So my first one today is going to be a strikeouts leader. So this is the MLB strikeouts leader future bet here. I'm actually going to have 2 of these for the same bet. So obviously both of them cannot win. So obviously bet accordingly, maybe like $20, $15, something like that. But I'm rolling with one of my favorite under the radar guys this year, and that is Carlos Rodon of the now San Francisco Giants. I absolutely love this dude. I bet on him almost every single game he pitched, unless he went up against like the Blue Jays or a team like that who are just heavily, heavily loaded with right-handed bats. And what we kind of saw from Rodon last year was an uptick in fastball velocity. He was sitting in like that 92 to 93 range for most of his career, really. When he came into the league, he threw gas, but it was all middle of the plate, home runs. Now he's kind of figuring it out. His fastball in 2020 was 92.9 average velocity. Last year it was 95.4. That is an absolute huge jump at this point in your career. He's adding in a little bit more of that changeup, using it about 12% of the time, where before it was more of like an 8%. And in pitching, that is pretty big difference there, especially when you have a wipeout pitch like his slider, which is 86 miles an hour coming off of a guy throwing 95 now. That's really hard to pick up too. It is one of the hardest sliders to hit in the MLB if you're just looking at batting average against. Going into this as well, he is a fly ball pitcher. That is what he's been his whole career. And now you get to go into the best pitcher's park that you could possibly have going out to San Francisco. 45% fly ball rate last year, one of the top of all starting pitchers. So you're not going to get many double play balls here with Carlos Rodon. But when we look at the teams he'll be playing, obviously the Dodgers are scary, but they do not lack in strikeouts. They will strike out a lot. Obviously that comes with all the power that they're going to have in there. You get the D-backs, obviously very, very low team here. And if you go into last year's number, the Padres and Rockies don't strike out that much, but they did lose quite a bit. Tatis is not going to be healthy for a little while yet. Trevor Story leaving the Rockies is absolutely massive as he just rakes left-handed batters. And I just think Rodon's going to have that year. I think 25-1 is unbelievable pricing. As you look at the top, you have DeGroms, you have your Biebers, you have all these guys sitting at 7 to 9 to 1, right? And those guys have injury issues. Carlos Rodon obviously had his shoulder issue, but that's really it. He hasn't had like these nagging little injuries that you're seeing a lot of these older guys have. Rodon is that up and coming guy, and the other guy that I'll be having in the same exact bet. He is that same exact way where they're up and coming. They have stuff to prove. And this is your first year with a team. You're going to want to go out there, improve it. I also like him to win Cy Young at the NL. I think it's 50-1. Also, you have a team here that is so much better defensively than the White Sox. They ranked top 10 in least amount of errors last year, or errors per game, and the White Sox ranked 22nd in that same category. So I think that Rodon's going to have pretty much everything improved here. Better park, better velo, better defense, pretty much everything here. The only thing I don't like is that he has to face the Dodgers quite a bit. So I'm going to be rolling with Rodon to lead the MLB in strikeouts, and I also will sprinkle on a Cy Young at 50-1 as well.
Yeah, no, as soon as he told me this one, I absolutely love this one. I did actually get to watch him play a decent amount last year for the White Sox just because they were kind of a fun up-and-coming team. Everyone, if you remember, everyone was betting on the home runs in those games all the time. So I actually got to see a good amount of him, and exactly what you said about going to that bigger ballpark, man, that I don't think people understand how much of a difference that actually makes, right? Guys have to hit the ball a decent amount longer to actually hit the ball out of the park. Even they did move it in a little bit recently, I believe, right? But it's still playing very long. So love the new ballpark. And like you said, Giants are a great kind of team for him to go to, almost a perfect fit. He's out here to prove himself this year too, right? He wants that huge contract. And I think he could get there after this year. I mean, this is kind of a make it, take it deal. You know what I mean? You get paid. It's not going to be that great, but if he puts himself in this conversation, he's going to get paid a lot.
Yeah, and Jay in here called it before I even posted it in here. He said Rodon is a dark horse. Yeah, I think he is. I really think that this 25-1 is completely unwarranted. I don't know why. His stuff is as good as anybody in the league. He's going to have to take over that number one spot in that rotation probably. Logan Webb is still very young. Obviously, he came out and showed out in the playoffs, so everybody's going to be talking about him. But you lose Kevin Guzman to the Blue Jays. I think Rodon fills in there a little bit more than Webb does. Webb is obviously had a great postseason, but we're looking at track record. We're looking at stuff. I'm taking Carlos Rodon all day, and we're looking for strikeouts, so I'm going to go with him for sure.
Love it, love it, love it.
All right, let's get to your number 2 play here.
Yep. So we got Talor Gooch right here. He's going to, for a top 40, this is plus 115 over at DraftKings Sportsbook right now. You're seeing minus 110 in some other spots, which isn't quite as good, but I would still take it. Maybe go to top 30 if you're on FanDuel. You can get some better odds, probably plus 150. The thing about Talor Gooch is I think his game fits Augusta really, really well. He's a great short game player. Some of his weaknesses off the tee might be a little bit negated right here where there's not as much rough he's going to have to battle out of. I think he'll really – sorry, laughing at your dog. I think he's a great fit for this course. And the thing that's really holding a lot of people back about Gooch is that it's his debut, right? Debut players at the Masters do not win. It's been 43 straight Masters, I believe, since a debutant has won. And I don't think that changes this year. But the reason we're getting great odds is because a guy making his first start at Augusta hasn't, played here before and they don't win normally. That doesn't mean he can't finish in the top 40 of golfers. I mean, this is like great value for a guy like Gooch. He's been playing pretty well recently. But like I said, the thing that impressed me most about last year's Hideki Matsuyama win was his short game. That's not what he's known for. He's not known for that creativity around the green, but I was pretty impressed what he managed to do last year. I think Gooch kind of fits in that same mold. I mean, you see a lot of the guys I'm talking about today are guys that can kind of get it up and down, scramble creatively, and just make, they can adjust from their tee shots not being as strong as some other guys like Jon Rahm. He's not going to be Jon Rahm off the tee. That's never been what Talor Gooch is. But I think this course kind of negates some of his weaknesses and kind of uplifts some of the strengths. So to get top 40 at plus 110 right here in a smaller field tournament, we've got 6 amateurs. Those guys are out. We've got like 8 old guys that won the Masters in 1980 and are just coming here to get a couple of drinks pretty much. Those guys are all out. The top 40 market is more valuable than it normally is this week because of those factors. And to get Gooch at plus 110, I like the value a lot. I know it's his debut here. I know course history matters here. but that doesn't mean a guy in his first start can't finish in the top 40. You know what I mean? Zalatoris was second last year in his first start. So I'm not really worried about that at all. I think Gooch, maybe even a top 20. I might have to look a little bit more into it.
I like it. Yeah, top 40. That's a lot of spots, right? I mean, like I said, I am going to be very unknowing about anything here. I've actually used Talor Gooch in DraftKings just because he's made quite a few cuts and he finds a way to get there, and that's all you need to do for a guy at that lower price point.
Exactly.
And I think that's you sold me on him, so I'm going to definitely be riding with him. Apologize for the dog. I don't know if he's got to go out or something, but he's jumping on my arm. So let's get to my second strikeout leader option. I'm going to be a little bit more biased here on my Brewers here. So I'm going with Freddy Peralta here. And this one is a little bit more based off of how bad the division has got, right? So looking at this team, the Brewers should very easily win this division. There's really nobody else. I mean, you could say the Cardinals, but they didn't get any better, right? The Brewers added Renfroe. You have now 3 guys fighting for the Cy Young or the strikeout leader. You look at Woodruff, you look at Freddy Peralta, and you look at Corbin Burns. All 3 of them are in the top 15 for options of strikeouts leaders. Plus 2,000 just seems a tad too low here. He's had 14 Ks per 9 versus righties last season. First 2 times through the order, he had over a 35% strikeout rate. That is unbelievable. And you look at the teams that were playing. Reds lost Suarez and Winker to Seattle. Cubs lost Bryant, Rizzo, Baez. Pirates are the Pirates, right? There's really not that much that's stopping him besides his other teammates, right? I just think that Peralta is a strikeout guy. That's all he really does. Like Corbin Burns has a nice cutter. He has the ability to get ground balls if he needs to. But Freddy Peralta's in there for one thing only, and that's to blow the ball by you. And I really don't see a way that he's not pushing for the strikeouts lead if he can stay healthy. I'm not really too concerned with many of the lineups that we're going to be facing very often here. Obviously, going to have your matchups in the NL West and stuff like that. But Peralta strikes out everybody. It doesn't really matter. Obviously, even when he has bad outings, he still gets his strikeouts. It's just giving up runs and home runs, and that's really been his issue across his career. And walks. It was very nice to see that his walk total went down quite a bit last year. Over a walk per game went down, which is crazy at this point in his career too. And his spin rate is one of the best spin rates on a fastball in the MLB. Very, very hard to hit. Looks like it is rising is really what that means when his fastball spin rate is that high. So I like Peralta. Obviously, I like Burns as well, but you're getting Burns at like 9-1. And like I said, this is more of an up-and-coming guy looking forward to having that breakout season. Burns had that breakout season last year. I think Freddy Peralta is set to have it this year as well, getting a little bit deeper in games.
Yeah, I like that, especially because you're kind of pivoting away from maybe the more popular, the easier to talk about guys, right? But, I mean, if anyone knows your team, it's going to be you, right? I trust your analysis, and I do remember you mentioned it being a high K guy. Remember, this is one of those guys that was pretty popular in the strikeout market last year. I know a lot of guys we're cashing in on him even over these last couple of years. So it would be pretty interesting. I think 20-1 is a pretty good price right here. I'm definitely telling you on this one. Like I said, I trust you for your Brewers analysis. So, it is what it is. I like it.
I love it. All right, let's get to a couple questions. I think we have one in here. Jay wants to know, would you take Cam Smith top 10 at plus 150?
Oh, that's tough. So Cam Smith is a good player, and he fits Augusta really well. Good course history, a young guy. The problem with Cam Smith is he's being priced like he's one of the best players in the world right now, and he's not. Like that price right there is right next to Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, all these guys, even Speith, who I'm going to talk about in a second. I think I'd just rather go to all those guys instead. I know he has good course history here. I know his game fits this course here, but at the current price point he's at, it's really hard for me. What I will do, I think I'm going to look at him in the first round leader market, or maybe the first round head-to-head, maybe first round top 10 market, something like that. He's been getting off to some pretty good starts, but this is one of the toughest courses there is, right? One of the toughest tracks there are. And to be priced like the 5 best players in the world, I'm just not super interested in that, to be honest, despite how good he's been at Augusta before. It's just about the number.
Yeah, it seems a little bit low for top 10 on that guy for sure. I'm going to get you to your last one. We're back to kind of the big boys here, going for your big shot here. Let's get to it. I like this number that I'm seeing here. I'm going to have to sprinkle on it before everybody in here locks it in.
Yep, it's Jordan Spieth to win the Masters. I already have his top 10 bet. I already have his top 20 bet. Obviously, safer bets, a little bit more on those. There aren't really, Jordan Spieth has only played the Masters 8 times in his career, and he's probably in contention for one of the best Masters players of all time. That might offend golf Twitter. I don't know. Obviously not passing Tiger or anything like that, but to even put him in kind of the same conversation is kind of crazy. Speith has been bad for the past 2 years. For anyone that doesn't know golf, Speith had this rise to the top, best player in the world, then absolute crashing down, played terribly. Even when he was in those terrible stretches, he still played phenomenally at the Masters. So now that we get Speith in good form, right? Speith just played last week, and he led the field. I believe it was off the tee or tee to green. I forget what I was looking at, but he is not a good ball striker. And he gained 8 strokes last week doing that. He is a guy that always wins with the putter, always wins around the green. The fact that he was playing so well last week, his ball striking looked phenomenal. If we get even half of that, even a third of that, if he's positive off the tee and we get that Spieth magic that we know is possible, I wasn't super high on him going into the week, but the more and more I thought about it, this is what I want. I want a guy that can be creative. I want a guy that has those magic beans that people talk about, that can just sink these crazy eagles or these crazy par saves. He's been there. He's won the Masters before. There really aren't that many people that I would be more scared of than Jordan Spieth. I just couldn't leave him off my card this week. I really do think he's going to win. The more I think about it, I know there's a lot of elite guys in this field, but top 10 is safer. It's plus 220 too, which was insane to me. I would have put it at like plus 150. It's more than Cam Smith, which we just talked about a minute ago. So to get Jordan Spieth to win, top 10, top 20, I'm in. I think he wins this week.
I love it. I know, yeah, Speith is always like a hot or cold guy usually for me whenever I try to look at him and look at his numbers here. But I think 22-1, like you said, you're giving me those last numbers. He plays well at the course. Would be a nice little hit there at 2,200. I think that's a good spot. Yeah, and it's crazy to me that Smith is at a shorter line than him too. That just kind of seems a little bit off. It's really, again, what have you done for me lately? Mentality, which kind of is weird.
But yeah, exactly. And just to give you a little bit more context, right? He played here 8 times in his career, right? Only 8 times, not that much. He's won once, tied for second twice, and then third twice. And he was third last year. That's insane. This is the hardest tournament in the world. And he was bad last year. And he was bad the year before that. So I've really talked myself into it. I'm in Jordan Spieth this week.
Perfect. Well, yours is going lowest, then your biggest odds. Mine went from biggest to smallest, and I'm going to my wins here. And I'm going back to my crew, man. I don't really care if this makes me sound biased, but this team won 95 games last season. This team is now playing against worst teams in the Central by far. Like I told you in the Freddy Peralta bit, they lost so many guys. There's really no team that got better than the Brewers this offseason in the Central. We picked up McCutchen. Ended up grabbing, I think one of the most underrated one is Hunter Renfroe coming over to the Brewers as well. Short porch. I think he's going to do fantastic for them. And if you look at the starting rotation, there's no one in the Central that's going to come close to that rotation, right? You have 3 predominant young studs coming out with Woodruff, Burns, and obviously Freddie. And they have the ability now to get some lefties in that starting rotation, which we really haven't had. You have Lauer, and you also have Aaron Ashby, who's a top prospect for us that are going to be starting in the MLB here right from the start. Obviously, you have Hader, Devin Williams coming out the pen. But like I said, the McCutchen pickup is going to be huge. I think Hira finally is getting that swing back to what it was. Obviously, tough news. I think his mother was sick last year, and I think that led to a lot of the struggles. And everybody's kind of talking about, oh, he sucks now. Well, dude, imagine having your mom be sick for the entire season and still try to travel and play baseball. Like that's really tough to do. He looked great in spring training. At least his swing wise just looked good. The path looked much better. Timing was better. And like I said, this division just is not gonna. You're gonna tell me I need to win only 90 games. They won 95 last year, and they're getting better. How do I expect them to lose 6 wins here? I mean, if they lose more than half the games to the Reds or to the Cubs, I'm probably going to riot. That would be absolutely unbelievable. A lot of the teams are in that rebuild mode in the Central here. I think that 89.5 at this price is unbelievable. I'm going to lock it in. I already have a unit and a half on it. Minus 105. I just feel like it's great value on a team that's getting better. Their pitchers are going to start developing even more, which is scary, right? You have guys that are already almost leading the MLB in strikeouts and wins, and now they're getting better each and every season, getting to play some pretty rough teams. I can't go away from my Brewers. I understand that it sounds biased and homey, but I have to roll with the Brewers on this one.
Yeah, no, the thing I like the most about this too is I actually bet this one before you even talked about it, right? I had a couple friends, talking that they pretty much saying exactly what you were saying before. So like clearly, this isn't you wouldn't come on the show and just, say I'm not here giving Nationals over 71 wins today. You know what I mean? That's just not how it works around here. But yeah, no, and like you said too, the Brewers got better and everyone else in their division got worse. I mean, they're in one of the I don't want to say it's the worst in the MLB because I'm not qualified to say that, but it's towards the bottom. Yeah. So when you get those kind of matchups so consistently that with that pitching that you guys have, man, I'm on this one too for a unit. I think the Brewers have a really good year. I also sprinkled on them to go all the way. So
very nice.
If that happens.
I love to hear it. And like I said, it's weird because this division used to be bringing almost 3 teams to the playoffs every year. Cubs and Cardinals always finding a way to the wild card, all 3 of them finding a way to make it. And the Cubs kind of just hit that rebuild button. I understand it. They have the money, but they're trying to get younger. Obviously, we have guys running out on their contracts. You kind of have to get rid of them. Obviously, Bryant in Colorado, moving out there. Rizzo on the Yanks. Tigers have Baez now. It was that time. It was that time. And when you have a team like that won the World Series where all of their prospects hit at the same time, right? You don't really see that. And that's why I think that this one, the Brewers are built for that long term. We got young arms, and you're definitely going to see them take a step forward this year. And I'm very excited for the season. I'm very excited to see what my Brewers can do this year. You're having Woodruff, I believe, start opening day, if I remember correctly. I looked at it on DraftKings. That might be the spring training game today or whatever. But you could easily put an argument for Burns or Woodruff. I think Woodruff is starting it, but Burns damn near won the Cy Young, right? He won the Cy Young last year.
Yep.
So, and you could have him as a 2. That's just crazy to me. And I really don't see many of these teams having very much success against those 3.
Pitching wins championships, baby. That's what they say. That's why I got that money down on it. Same with the Giants too. I see someone also saying Cubs under 75.5 wins. I agree with that too. I was looking at that one a little bit. They've got a lot of young guys. This year is going to be about developing talent. Like you said, it's not going to be about winning ball games. I think they're going to let some of these younger pitching prospects they have, they're going to stretch them out. They're going to let them get those innings. They're going to let them get that major league experience. And as we know, prospects don't just come into the league and demolish, right? They're also putting a lot of eggs in what's his name? The guy that the rookie of the year contender.
I know what it is. It starts with an S.
Yeah, I'm not going there. I don't want to try that. I can make myself sound stupid in a lot of ways, so I don't need to add that one. But yeah, no, they've got a lot of guys that we really have no clue what this Cubs team is going to look like. So, yeah, we also got some no runs first inning is back.
The most nerve-wracking 20 minutes in sports. That's all that is, baby. That's all that is. Yes, I think I saw Woodruff. Suzuki. There it is.
Okay, that was my guess.
Started with an S.
I didn't want to go there.
I knew it started with an S. I just couldn't pronounce his first name. But
yeah,
Cubs under 75.5 wins. I mean, and that's the thing is when you're betting on these over wins, you got to hope that they're in contention so they're not the ones selling. They're the guys buying, right? The Brewers really don't have a ton of prospects besides like Terang and a couple other guys down there, Luciano. So I don't really see us doing that much. It's not even disrespect. You guys won a World Series. Like that's the thing is I'm not disrespecting the Cubs, but you guys had to sell, right? I mean, it's just because they were getting old and they needed to rebuild. And I mean, losing all those guys to free agency does nothing for you guys. You guys got some good prospects out of it. So
I was gonna say, we're in the same camp, man. Cubs, we're like the same. We both gave up this year. We'll root for our teams. We'll enjoy it. But ownership has other plans right now. You know what I mean? It's pretty clear that they want to win next year. They want to win the year after that. This year, we'll see what happens.
But yeah, dude, you know how many years I went through having Ricky Weeks as our best hitter? You know how many times I've had Richie Sexson be our best hitter? We've had some bums on our team, and I still got to support the Brewers. I've had some bad years supporting the Brewers. Do not get me wrong. I am not making fun of anyone going through a rebuild. As a Brewers fan, I get along with the Cubs fans when they come up to American Family Field. Now it's not Miller Park. It will always be Miller Park to me, but nothing against them. Yelich is up in the air for me. I think he'll do better. He can't really do worse, but I mean, obviously you destroy your knee like that. That's tough to stay in the box. You can tell he's kind of bailing out. Front side was kind of coming off. So, I was at the Game 7 against the Dodgers when they were in the CS, and that was tough to watch that. So, I usually go to probably like 20, 30 games a year. So, it's best time of the year.
Okay, I have a couple of questions for you. I want to know what you think about a couple of teams. We talked about them off air a little bit too. I'm already in on this one, so I can't look back. But I like the Giants over this year. And I know there are a lot of compelling cases on why they're going to lose wins, right? Posey's retiring, losing Bryant hurts. We might be able to expect some regression from Crawford too, right? But I don't know. I think 20 wins, dropping that down is a bit of an overreaction, right? At 85.5, they don't have to be that same team they were last year to get over that. And just the pitching, like we've talked about before, I'm curious, do you think this team has enough offense where they can go over this win total? Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, and the thing with the Giants that kind of scares me, I'll get this Brewers thing off here. The thing that kind of scares me with the Giants is it's really more of like that bullpen, that middle of that bullpen that kind of scares me off of them. And obviously Posey's a big deal. I think that the number is probably moving just because of how much better the Dodgers got. Like they that's a huge thing there. Those two will be fighting against each other for that. One thing I didn't look into with the Giants was who they're playing in their interleague games. That could possibly be something important too. If they're playing against better teams in the interleague. But if you look at it with the Arizona side of things, Padres will be competing. It's a tough division. The NL West is a tough division. I mean, you just got to win all your games against Arizona and take those guys out. But it's just a tough division. Arizona, obviously, Colorado at home is unbelievable. Doesn't matter if they have minor leaguers there. They just find a way to play extremely well there. So it's a tough spot. I get it. But 20-win drop is a little bit drastic to me. I would probably still lean the over. But that's my concerns is that you got the Padres who are obviously fighting for a playoff spot. You got the Dodgers fighting to be the number one team in baseball. And you also have kind of like you're going to have Joey Bart come in and be an immediate impact. And I think he will towards the end of the season, but it kind of depends on where they're at in that beginning part if they even like how they're going to do it with him because Bart is legit. Like he can rake. It's just going to come down to how early do they bring him up? Are they going to start him right away? You know, it's kind of weird how baseball works like that with the timing and stuff on it. So I guess we'll see.
And like you said, too, a lot of young guys, too, can kind of come up and light the world on fire. And then suddenly guys get that game tape on them. Other teams figure them out a little bit more and it gets a little tougher. So depending on those younger guys can be a little bit scary at times. But I'm still pretty confident in my Giants bet, to be honest. I still feel pretty good about it. I think the hitting will be good enough. And like we said, I see Jay in the chat saying Giants pitching staff is so good. I completely agree with you, man. I think that's kind of the thing, right? I said it earlier with the Brewers bet, pitching wins championships. That's what I'm going for with the Giants too. I sprinkled a little bit on them to go all the way. So let's just hope the Dodgers have a down year, right? Who in their right mind is rooting for the Dodgers this year? Come on now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, I'm a big Rodon guy. I really think that was a big pickup for them. It's just, I mean, it's tough because they did pick up Rodon, but losing Guzman and a guy like that, it's tough to replace that even with a guy like Rodon. And we can't really go off of how big of an impact Guzman's jump last year was for them. I mean, dude was pushing for Cy Young. He was getting pretty close in strikeouts to the top of the leaderboard there. So, yeah, it's tough when you take a guy and you want to replace him straight with another guy. So that's my only thing is you got a great pitcher back in Rodon, but man, dude, Guzman is the man. I have both of them in fantasy. They were both my 2 top pitchers I picked this year. I'm a big fan of both, so I think that they'll be good. It's just, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for them. But I think that obviously I'm cheering for the Dodgers to probably suck. So.
Yeah. Okay. I got one more for you, and it's a personal one. It's not the Nationals. I don't need your rundown of the Nationals, but it is our division, right? This is one of the more – I'm seeing everyone pick everyone, right? I see like 8 guys on the Mets, 8 guys on the Phillies, 8 guys on the Braves. It seems like this is one of the ones that's kind of wide open right now. Do you have a strong lean on who makes it out of this one alive?
I think the Mets, it's just health. It's just going to come down to health. I really like what they did with their lineup. Obviously, Alonso, I think he's going to be fighting for that top home run spot this year. He should be fantastic. It's just I don't know how the Braves are going to be. I don't see them winning it. I think it's between them and the Phillies, but it's going to come down, can the Phillies close games out? Yeah. That's really it. It's that bullpen. It's been that bullpen forever. They score runs. That lineup is disgusting. Probably top 3 hitting catcher in Real Muto. You got Harper fighting for MVP every year. Segura is an old Brewer. I love him. I like how he plays. And obviously the addition to Schwarber is massive. That is huge pickup that, again, not many people are talking about. They're all talking about, obviously, the Mets. And I think that this leaves a huge letdown opportunity with the Mets. But when I think about it, it's like that is deserved, right? That is a huge deserve to have that. Obviously, it comes out to Phillies. Are they going to have I know Wheeler's going to start on the IL. I don't know what that all is about. I know they mentioned something that he's going to be out for a little bit. Ranger Suarez, if they move him to the beginning, if they move him to a starter, which I'm seeing a lot of news as he's going to be a starter, that was their best relief guy last year. I mean, he was fantastic. He was like a 2.4 ERA. His stuff is disgusting. But if you take him out of the bullpen, that is your best bullpen arm that you're kind of getting out and moving him to the starting spot. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I mean, I love Wheeler, dude. Wheeler is absolutely filthy. You have Nola. And that's what I mean is it's almost like, can they win the 4th and 5th games in the starting rotation? If they can, you're going to see a huge jump up for that team, right? Yeah. And it sucks because of how many games get blown in the pen on Nola starts. You can't have that. When Nola starts, you got to win. Especially, and same thing with Wheeler. But the thing about the difference between Wheeler and Nola is Wheeler's able to get into the 7th and 8th inning, whereas you don't really see Nola get that deep because he does use a lot of pitches, and a lot of teams can foul it off because he doesn't really have that explosive fastball that a Zach Wheeler has. I think Wheeler is absolutely filthy. He was in my look as the strikeout leader and Cy Young leader. That was one of my guys I was looking at, but just the injuries and everything like that just kind of scares me off of him a bit. I don't know how the Phillies are going to be in the market of pushing as buyers. I think they did enough in the offseason. I think that, like I said, that Schwarber pickup is massive, especially in that building, dude. That thing is small to right side, and he pulls the hell out of the ball. So I think that you're going to see a very good fight. I think it's going to be more towards Phillies versus Mets. I think the Braves kind of take a step back.
I'm glad to hear you say that, too. I already have a bet on the Phillies over win total. That was my one pick in this division. The Mets, like we said all day, pitching wins championship. Why are you not on the Mets? You said it yourself earlier. Injuries. This isn't even new for the Mets, by the way. This has been going on since I've been watching them play, right? Back in the day with Syndergaard, with Harvey, with all these guys that could never stay healthy. Tommy John after Tommy John, you know what I mean? So the fact that the Mets consistently have had these injury problems over the last 10 years, and then they're having them again this year does not give me enough confidence, to bet them to win. The Phillies, I may not love the city of Philadelphia. Anyone in here from Philly, you guys probably suck. You're a terrible sports city, but really, besides that, I still have to put the bet where the numbers point. You know what I mean? I don't know what to think of the Braves, honestly. A lot of guys, injuries, a lot of guys were depending on guys to come back and bolster that pitching rotation a little bit into the year already. It's scary to depend on stuff like that.
And the thing is, this is my last thing. This is my last thing on this is if I'm taking a side, I'm going to take the Mets over the Phillies. The only reason why is the massive discrepancy in your fourth and fifth pitchers, even 3, 4, 5, right? You have a Taijuan Walker who was 12-game winner last year as your 4. You have Chris Bassett, who was an absolute beast last year, probably one of the best curveballs in baseball. I had him on my fantasy team last year. He was fantastic. And that's going to be your 3. You also have a guy in Carlos Carrasco who used to win about 15 games a year with Cleveland. Like, how do you really take these two pitching staffs and compare them? Like, it's not even close. Like, you can fight 1 versus 1 maybe with DeGrom, Wheeler. Like, those dudes can go at it. But DeGrom, when he is healthy, is the best pitcher on the planet. It's not even close. DeGrom's stuff is absolutely disgusting. It's unfortunate that he is hurt more than he should be, right? But if you go in here, like, imagine the Mets in like a 3 or 4 game series, right? DeGrom, Scherzer, Bassett, and then using Taijuan Walker and Carlos Carrasco out of your pen, because the same thing with the Mets is I don't really trust their closer very much. I believe they still have Diaz there, who is one of the worst closers ever, at least hardest to watch. The dude never is in a boring outing. That's all I'll say is that man loves to give up dingers. So, yeah, it's just that pitching staff is disgusting. Probably pushing the number 1 spot in the MLB.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And like I said, I'm not low on the Mets. It's just there's about a 7-win gap. Maybe it's even the Mets are one of the most popular teams to bet on just by being in New York, you know. And just before we leave that team too, you mentioned a little bit, I did bet Alonso. I did sprinkle him to both win MVP and win home run leader this year. So
I love it.
We're hoping for the best there.
Yeah, we have a guy in here, Jay, talking about the Mariners and Angels. Kelnick's actually a buddy of mine, Jared Kelnick. He's going to be a guy on there starting in the outfield. I actually have some stuff up here of my Kelnick stuff and my Trout stuff up here. I think it's this one. My Kelnick ball here. This was at his draft party when he got drafted to the Mets. It says "Go Mets" on it. Obviously, one of the worst. He's put if Kelnick turns out to be what he's supposed to be, might be pushing Fernando Tatis level of bad trade. That was one of the worst trades ever. Getting that back in a Robinson Cano who. But the Mariners are going to be nice. They have a very nice farm system. They're going to be starting Julio Rodriguez up. So, yeah, Jared's a buddy of mine. Gavin Lux played against all those guys coming up. But, yeah, I would really love to have Trout win a series, man. It sucks that he hasn't won a postseason. So
what's going on with my guy Rendon? I mean, he barely played last year, right? What's been going on? I mean, since that big – Rendon has done almost nothing, right? Since that big contract he got.
Yeah, dude, I think Rendon needs to be healthy for this team to make a move, right? I mean, it's tough. Here's my one Trout, nice one. I just sold the rookie card a couple days ago, but this is an orange, one of my favorite Topps Chrome cards they made of an orange Trout there. But yeah, Rendon's got to be healthy. That's a huge part of it.
Is he going to start the year starting?
I don't know. There's a lot of different talks about it. I'm not going to do it until they get about a week in. But yeah, I think Joe Adell he was supposed to be up last year, but it's just like I think they're using Marsh still. I'm not sure how everything's going to fill out there. Also like their farm system. The Angels have a great farm system. I'm a huge fan of Jeremiah Jackson as well. A nice shortstop piece coming up through the farm system there. Has a lot of pop for the shortstop position. I think he's going to take the spot of Simmons once he's done. There's just a lot of moving parts to that Angels team that needs to be figured out before they start making these runs. And I think one of the biggest things is starting rotation. I'm not really a huge fan of their starting rotation right now. But obviously Ohtani's going to take that ball and be able to do whatever he wants. He's fantastic. He's a once in a generation type of talent. Just got to enjoy him while we can. I hope it just doesn't go out without saying that he needs to get a postseason move on here with the Angels here. I would love to see the Astros go down.
100%. No, like I said, obviously the Trout stuff, they've got a bunch of cool guys. You know, it's just easy team to root for. Does Astros are like the Dodgers? Does anyone really want the Astros to win? Not me. I don't know.
Yeah, and I actually really like their closer, Iglesias. He's one of my favorite closers. I really liked him with the Reds. That's a nice spot to have. He's a great closer. I really like his stuff. He's got that low 3/4 action type of action on his ball. I think he's gonna be good. I think he'll do well again this year, and hopefully he gets me 40 saves in my fantasy league.
Yes, sir. And like I said, too, I mean, I'm gonna be doing a lot of baseball stuff this year. You're going to see some Rendon long shots because that's my guy. I love that guy. He's such a cool guy. I've met him before. He's such a chill guy. Just amazing family dude, low key. Really rooting for him to come back this year. So, I'll drop some money here and there. Gotta show some love.
Yeah, you got to. You got to find your guys.
All right. Well, we've gotten through most of the baseball stuff. Do you want me to talk NBA real quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, if you want to drop stuff, I haven't looked at any. I'll be looking at that in a little bit here, and also taking my dog outside.
Yeah, all I really got, I mean, the whole world. I know you said you haven't looked too much. The whole world is going to be on Kevin Durant today. I mean, everyone. He barely did anything yesterday. He was just kind of hanging out. Kyrie went off. Now he goes to Madison Square Garden. He obviously averages over like 30 points a game there in his career. He's averaging 40 against them in 2 games this year. The whole world is going to be on Durant. So I think Durant probably has a good game, but I don't really feel a strong need to be on that train. I mean, Chalk has failed all year long, but man, over these last couple of weeks, Chalk is really struggling, especially with all this weird minute stuff. But who I do like in this game, and I haven't quite figured out the pairing yet, just because we don't have that many odds available right now, to be honest. And the books know this because we need information. We need these lineups. We need coaches to give these conferences and these pressers. But I like Bruce Brown a lot. Bruce Brown has been playing really, really well recently. He fits in. You can tell he doesn't play when Kevin Durant and Irving aren't out there. Like through those stretches where even they had no depth at all, Bruce Brown just wasn't playing. He doesn't complement those lineups at all. But the kind of player he is, the scrappy, the hustle on every play, grab those boards, cut well, make those shots, be a good off-ball mover. He does all of that stuff right. And he can really thrive in that role. So he's actually hit 3 threes in 3 straight games, which is kind of crazy. His 1-3 is minus 200 right now. And I believe his 10 points is also about minus 190 right now. So I'm going to be looking for a parlay piece for one of those two. I think he's hit 3 threes in 3 games in a row, which is pretty impressive. I think he keeps that going. But if not, I think he gets 10 points pretty easily. So I'm going to be looking at Bruce Brown tonight. I just need to find a parlay piece. I need to see these starting lineups. I need a little bit more information. It's still 3:00. We got plenty of time.
Yeah, no, definitely. That game is just screams they need to win, right? So you probably go to their best guy. Obviously, only betting teams that need to win like that. Maybe a Luka stuff I'll look at. Maybe Trae Young stuff I'll look at. But other than that, there's really not much else I want to look at.
Yeah, even the Luka stuff scares me though, right? Because if the Jazz win and then the Mavs might not want to win, because if I were the Mavs, I'd way rather play the Jazz than maybe the Nuggets.
I don't want to play Nuggets.
Exactly. So I'm kind of worried that they're going to be incentivized to lose in this game, even though they're 8-point fit. I don't know. It's just how the NBA is right now, right? It's ridiculous. It's crazy. That's why I'm really going 2-leg parlays a little bit, but mostly first quarter stuff to avoid those blowouts. So I think Bruce Brown has a pretty good day, but yeah, there's going to be more stuff a lot closer to tip rather than 4 hours out.
I love it. Let's go through our quick recap of all of our futures for me and all of Monotone's master spots. I'm going to start with your master spots today. Obviously this starts off tomorrow, I think.
Yes, it does. Not starting the most creatively in the world, but John Rahm, best player in the world, top 10, plus 100. Talor Gooch, top 40, plus 110. And then finally, we got Jordan Spieth to win his second ever Masters this year at 22-1. Favorite play, I told you guys, played top 10, top 20 also.
Perfect. And I'm going with a few longer shots here for my strikeout guys. Carlos Rodon to lead the MLB in strikeouts at 25-1, and Freddy Peralta to win for that same exact award, plus 2,000, 20-1 there. And then I'm going to my Brewers, over 89.5 wins at minus 105. I just think that number is a little bit too low for a team this good here. But yeah, let's I'll take a look at one question here. Looks like Jay dropped a question here for us before we head out. Monotone, you see anything for Sadaransky here?
Today's the Wizards are really hard to figure out right now. So yes, but also Neto hasn't played in a couple days, and then Denny and Rui both played like 38 minutes yesterday. I don't know how I want to attack the Wizards yet. I will in some way. I just haven't quite figured it out. I think Sato probably does benefit. The problem is the books have adjusted, right? He's at 6.5 assists, and he's played 20 minutes in 4 straight games. It's really hard for me to bet on a guy to get 7 assists in 20 minutes, even if he's doing it before, right? He's not even looking to shoot, really. He's out there just to pass to the young guys. But coming off a back-to-back with your shooters like Rui and Denny and Kispert and all those guys being tired, this isn't a game they need to win. We're not playing for anything right now. So I'm gonna have to think more on that one. It's tough right now. I think the Wizards, I think Sato is the guy if there is anyone, but it's tough. It's tough. We need some more. We need starting lineups, a little bit more information from the coaches before I pull the trigger on that game yet.
Perfect. Sounds good. I will be locking in all those Masters plays tonight. Remember, those kick off very early in the morning, so get all that stuff in early tonight. Thank you for popping in here, Jason. I appreciate you. Thank you all you guys for coming in and asking questions. We'll do our early Friday again. Whether that be MLB stuff, whether that be maybe some stuff going into the weekend golf action. I know they do like matchup stuff. Maybe that's a spot we go to. Ton of stuff, a lot of action. UFC this weekend is going to be fantastic as well. So very excited for this weekend. Jay, appreciate you popping in as well, man. Should be a fun night. Getting all those futures bets in. One more sleep. That's what they say in UFC is one more sleep till we get baseball back, and very excited to do that. So any final words here, Monotone, for the people before we sign off?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I mean, let me represent my hat. You know, you want to go Nationals, you want to bet them to win the World Series before anything else. Obviously, I do my yearly donation for the Wizards, the Nationals, not the Capitals. They actually won once. I was not on that. But yeah, so I want to bet the Nationals to win all the way, and I'm excited to do MLB every week, man. I'm really excited. I can talk about it all day. I love baseball. I know it's your favorite sport. It's what I was raised on. It's what I've watched more than anything else. I'm really excited to jump back into opening day. It's going to be great. Yeah,
very excited. Yeah, looking forward to it. My best of luck on all your bets, guys. Don't go too crazy on opening day. I know it's going to be tough, but make some money. Hopefully you guys are able to do that too, and we'll see you guys on Friday with Pass the Prop again in the morning. So have a good one, guys. We'll talk to you Friday.